This portion of the panel focuses on the problem of systems integration. This is a vitally important aspect of the IIoT. Industrial devices come in many varieties, and they could each have different communication protocols, which all must be converted to some common format in order for data to be shared across applications. Also, sensors and other input-output modules, data acquisition systems, and computing platforms all have to be seamlessly integrated from a hardware and software perspective for an IIoT system to be truly functional and provide value. Systems integration also requires a very interdisciplinary partnership between different individuals and even across different companies.
So on the system integration side, there's a question here for Nick. They're asking, what is TI currently doing to make the life of a system integrator easier?
Very good. That's a great question. One of the things that we have been doing by default over many decades is that we have a very broad and deep portfolio of products that we are constantly refreshing that offers a variety of building blocks to the system integrators and box makers, as well as the moat itself, for them to leverage these building blocks and craft the right solution. And that goes from sensors. Just to give you an idea, we have over 770 different temperature sensors alone in our portfolio. And that's just temperature sensors. And how you get from that to the right op-amps, data converters, the whole signal conditioning process for the sensors, and also getting to the embedded processing and having a power management solution, developing new technologies such as isolation that in industrial applications will be required, and having also the wireline and wireless connectivity solutions. So one thing that we are doing to help is to offer a broad portfolio that is getting refreshed with the right features, the right performance, with the right capability that, as Dr. Lang was pointing out, for example, by driving lower and lower power levels in terms of consumption and having greater power density, more efficient systems. So that's one aspect. What else we are doing? We have a very good database of reference designs that our customers can use, or our customers' customers can also use, so that they can implement the solutions that they want. We recognize that one of the things that is required about IIoT is that it needs to be easy to use. So can we eliminate some of those barriers that you don't necessarily have to be an absolute RF expert to be able to implement a system? So the reference designs also help with that. We also have a variety of application notes and documentation and collateral that helps walk through the implementation of those types of components and solutions in the system. But most of all, we have one of the biggest, in fact, the biggest field application engineering team in the semiconductor field. And what that does, it provides a lot of our customers across the world local application expertise to go work with them directly. That's on top of the collateral and reference designs and selection guides and all of that.
Very good, thank you.
That's excellent. So Nick, when you talk about all of TI offers, that's really an example of a company being more than a vendor and actually being a partner, providing resources and learning and enough people, staff people, for companies to work with. So Aidan, I actually had a question for you about partnerships as well. Partnerships, as we've said, are a must in the IIoT space, especially now. Are you looking for a community or a defined number of partnerships? And can you give us an example of a successful partnership at Arrow?
Yeah. God, there's a bunch of them. I guess, first of all, no, there's no defined number. I think we are creating collaborations as we need, and we're letting the customer opportunity guide us. I think there's one that's an example of partnerships and how they're going. If you take a look at what we're benefiting from an embedded compute environment that Intel had with x86 for years, they've had a very strong ecosystem of companies from Contron to Advantech to others that were doing industrial control units. Then they had another layer of companies like HPE, Aruba, and Dell that were really powerful in the networking layer. And now suddenly, boy, I've got two areas in an environment that I can toggle back and forth from, both control and networking integration. And with the right software overlay that's module, I can really bring on, companies like a Monit in encapsulated sensors. And it's easy for me to pivot upwards. And by looking at some of that encapsulated ecosystem and helping them guide us, here's one example we did on our own to prove what's possible. We just put a quadriplegic driver back behind a car, and he's the first quadriplegic driver to get a driver's license again in the state of Nevada. And if we can do that, we don't spend millions of dollars in R&D. We spend it on applications capability and how to put things together to be able to get a driver to, with the movement of his head, to be able to control speed, braking, and direction through a network of sensors that are driving actuators, and where both his biochemistry and, of course, the status of the car is monitored real time through the cloud. That's incredible what you can do with what's available in the ecosystem. And from there, we're able to wrap around collaborations with AT&T for connectivity, IBM for cloud and analytics, and we ran Arrow Connect as infrastructure as a service right on IBM, and for deep analytics, we would drive it to Watson. So there is no limit to these kinds of configurations. It's starting about the in solution you want to architect, and then really figuring out what are the building blocks to put it together. Hardware is a necessary but critical means to an end in this path for value out of data. But getting the right configurations, I think, they're limitless, but you do need to work on them.
Okay, that was a very inspired example and a great answer. Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on now. After any comments, questions about system integration, we can take one more question or comment. If not,
for us, we've decided that connecting things in the IoT is complicated, but the value is somewhere else, right? It's in the data analytics of different kind. Having said that, because of the nature of analytics and the shortage of data scientists, the development of relevant analytics for IoT or other things tends to be a little bit of a lab exercise, a small project. So the question is, how do we provide an industry robust tool to help for the development of meaningful application, including analytics, on top of the IoT data collection? And that's really what we've been trying to do. So it's to serve the data scientist, but also to provide them with the project management, the rigor of application development, to make sure that those applications that embed analytics are actually enterprise grade and not just projects. So that's a lot of what's behind our IoT and Bluemix platform, bringing the rigor of enterprise application development and the science of the data scientist together.
Very good.